This song is called You and I.
Title: The Man Behind the Piano. The stage is quiet. A single spotlight fades in, revealing a man and his piano. No smoke, no dancers, no glitter, just the sound of keys, played by hands that have touched both love and loss. Before the world called him legend, he was John Roger Stevens, a boy from Ohio with a dream too big for his small town. A voice shaped by gospel hymns, a soul molded by pain and hope. He would grow up to become one of the few artists in history to win an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony, a rare crown known as the EGOT. But behind the trophies and timeless love songs, there were moments of doubt, heartbreak, and a quiet struggle to stay true to himself. This is not just the story of fame. It's the story of faith, resilience, and the man who turned every heartbreak into harmony. This is John Legend, and this is how he earned his name. Title: The Choir Boy from Ohio. Before the Grammys, before the world tours, before the name Legend ever appeared on a marquee, there was a boy sitting at an old upright piano in a modest home in Springfield, Ohio. John Roger Stevens was born on December 28, 1978, into a family stitched together by love, faith, and music. His father, Ronald, worked at a factory but spent his evenings playing drums at church. His mother, Phyllis, was a choir director, a woman whose voice filled their small home with gospel warmth. Music wasn't just background noise, it was oxygen. By the age of 4, John was already pressing piano keys, trying to match the melodies his mother sang. Sundays were sacred. The family dressed in their best clothes, heading to church where John would sing with the congregation, eyes closed, heart wide open. But the harmony didn't last forever. When John was just a teenager, his parents' marriage began to fall apart. His mother, once his greatest teacher, drifted away, her own struggles pulling her from the family she loved. The house grew quieter, the laughter faded, and the piano became his only constant companion. Through the keys, he learned how to speak when words failed. Through song, he found healing when love broke apart. It was in those quiet Ohio nights, sitting under dim light with his hands on the piano, that a dream began to take shape. Not of fame, but of connection. He wanted to make music that could mend hearts the way it had mended his own. And soon, that boy from Springfield would step into a world far bigger, a world waiting to hear his song. Title: Dreams Between Piano Keys. At the University of Pennsylvania, far from his quiet hometown, John was no longer just the choir boy from Ohio. He was a young man searching for his place in the world. By day, he studied English and African American literature. By night, he played piano at open mics and small bars, his voice echoing softly through smoke-filled rooms, catching the attention of anyone willing to listen. He didn't have the look of a superstar. No flashy chains, no swagger, just a clean suit, a calm smile, and a voice that carried both pain and peace. After graduation, while his classmates joined corporations and law firms, John took a steady day job as a management consultant in Boston. But every evening he returned to his first love: music. He'd record demos, perform in small clubs, and send CDs to anyone who might care. Most never replied. But one day destiny did. A young rising producer named Kanye West heard one of John's early recordings and was struck by his soulful tone. Kanye invited him to sing hooks on his upcoming projects, blending gospel soul with hip-hop edge. Soon, John's voice was everywhere. Alicia Keys' You Don't Know My Name, Jay-Z's Encore, and on Kanye's debut album, The College Dropout. Each collaboration opened another door, another stage, another chance to be heard. Poet Jay Ivey was the first to call him legend. "Your sound, it feels like it's from another time," he said. "You don't sound new. You sound timeless." The name stuck, and with that name came a new identity. Not the dreamer in the back of a church pew, but an artist ready to take the spotlight. The world was about to meet John Legend. Title: The Sound of a New Soul. In 2004, A quiet storm swept through the music world, not with noise, but with soul. John Legend released his debut album, Get Lifted, a fusion of gospel warmth, R&B smoothness, and lyrical honesty. His voice was neither loud nor boastful. It was human, vulnerable, real. When ordinary people played on the radio, everything changed. No auto-tune, no effects, just a piano, a man, and a story of love that hurts and heals at once. Listeners across the world stopped, because for a moment they heard themselves in him. The album earned 3 Grammys, and John went from small jazz bars to global stages. Yet he carried himself with the same quiet grace. While others sang about fame, he sang about forgiveness. While others chased trends, he revived soul. He became the voice of sincerity in an era of spectacle. His performances felt like confessions, his lyrics like prayers. And behind the scenes, his heart found its match. Model and television personality Chrissy Teigen, who appeared in the music video for Stereo. What began as professional chemistry turned into a love story the world would follow for years. By the late 2000s, John was collaborating with the biggest names: Kanye West, will.i.am, Lauryn Hill, all while maintaining his signature humility. His music evolved. Once again captured nostalgia, Evolver embraced experimentation. But it was All of Me, released in 2013, that immortalized him. Written for Chrissy, it became one of the most timeless love songs of the 21st century. A global anthem for devotion and vulnerability. Every wedding, every heartbreak, every promise seemed to carry its melody. John Legend had achieved what many dream of: fame without losing authenticity. But as the spotlight grew brighter, the shadows behind it began to stretch, because every legend, no matter how gentle, must one day face the storm. Title: When the Spotlight Burns. At the height of his fame, John Legend seemed untouchable. The man with the golden voice, the perfect marriage, the dream life. But the higher the pedestal, the sharper the fall. As social media magnified every moment, his world became public property. Every smile, every silence, every sentence from his wife, Chrissy Teigen, was dissected and judged. Their love, once a fairy tale, became a headline machine. When Chrissy faced backlash for her online behavior, John found himself caught in the storm, defending his partner, enduring criticism, and questioning the image he had built so carefully. Behind the calm exterior, there was exhaustion. The pressure to always be inspiring, to always say the right thing, sing the right note, and embody perfection. It began to suffocate. Even music, his lifelong refuge, started to feel like work. Then came heartbreak that no song could fix. In 2020, John and Chrissy lost their baby boy Jack, a loss shared publicly, painfully, with the world watching. He later said, "We felt such grief, but also such love. We shared it because we didn't want to hide our humanity." That moment stripped away the celebrity, the awards, the applause, leaving only 2 people, broken yet brave, facing the reality that fame offers no shield against pain. For a while, John disappeared from the spotlight. The piano grew silent. He needed to remember why he made music in the first place. Not for charts, not for image, but for healing. And when he finally returned, his voice carried something new. Not just beauty, but wisdom. Because even legends bleed. Title: Finding Light Again. In the quiet after the storm, John Legend returned to what had always saved him: music. Not the kind meant for awards or charts, but the kind that mends broken hearts. During the pandemic, when the world stood still, John released Bigger Love, an album born from grief, but glowing with hope. It wasn't denial, it was defiance. Songs about joy, resilience, and faith in humanity. A reminder that love, even when tested, can outlive pain. On stage again, John seemed changed. The calm confidence was still there, but it now carried the weight of someone who had walked through fire and survived. He began using his platform differently, not as a pedestal, but as a bridge. As a coach on The Voice, he mentored young artists, not teaching them how to be famous, but how to stay authentic. He spoke openly about mental health, grief, and the illusion of perfection. In interviews, he often said, "Love is not weakness. Love is power." His artistry deepened. Songs like Conversations in the Dark and Wild reflected a man who had learned to embrace imperfection, to see beauty in scars. He turned his pain into purpose, supporting charities for social justice, education, and equality. For John, redemption wasn't about comeback tours or hit singles. It was about peace. The kind that comes when you stop performing for approval and start living for truth. From the church pews of Ohio to global stages, his journey had come full circle. He no longer needed to prove he was a legend. He simply became one. Title: The Legacy of Grace. Few artists have left a mark as gracefully as John Legend. He became one of the rare individuals to achieve the coveted EGOT, winning an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony. But his true legacy isn't measured in trophies. It's written in hearts. John brought soul back to a generation drowning in noise. In an era of digital perfection, he reminded the world of the power of simplicity. A voice, a piano, and a story that feels human. He redefined what it means to be a modern soul artist, elegant yet vulnerable, confident yet compassionate. His influence rippled far beyond the stage. For younger musicians, artists like H.E.R., Daniel Caesar, and Leon Bridges, he became proof that tenderness could be powerful, that truth could still sell. He championed causes of justice and equality, standing alongside movements for voting rights, education reform, and criminal justice. To his peers, he wasn't just a singer. He was a compass. Grounded, articulate, and endlessly kind, John represented the rare fusion of fame and integrity. Through every note, every lyric, he carried one message: that greatness isn't about applause, it's about empathy. And even when the music fades, his echo remains, soft, steady, and true. This is the legacy of John Legend, a man who turned pain into beauty and love into light. Title: The Man Beyond the Music. Fame, for John Legend, was never the destination. It was the detour. After decades in the spotlight, he learned that the true measure of success isn't how loud the crowd cheers, but how quiet your soul feels when the lights go out. Fatherhood changed everything. Holding his children, Luna and Miles, he said he felt a love deeper than any lyric he had ever written. He learned patience, humility, and the art of being present. To listen, not perform. With Chrissy, he discovered that love isn't a perfect song. It's a melody you rewrite every day. In interviews, he often reflects, "The world will always have something to say about you, but peace comes when you know who you are." That wisdom became his rhythm. Steady, grounded, unshakable. He began giving more of his time to philanthropy, education, and activism, using his platform not for glory but for good. In a culture obsessed with fame, John quietly redefined what it means to win, to build a legacy not on headlines, but on harmony. At the piano, he no longer plays to prove anything. He plays because music still heals him, the same way it did in that small Ohio home so many years ago. And as he once said, with a gentle smile, being a legend isn't about being remembered. It's about living with purpose while you're still here. Title: Harmony After the Storm. The stage lights dim once more. A single piano note echoes, gentle, steady, familiar. From the small church pews of Springfield to the grandest stages in the world, John Legend's journey has never been about fame. It has been about faith, in music, in love, in humanity. He has lived through applause and silence, triumph and heartbreak. Yet through it all, he kept playing. Because for John, music was never an escape. It was a mirror. Every song, a reflection of who he was and who he still strives to be. Honest, vulnerable, kind. He turned pain into melody, loss into lessons, and love into legacy. And in doing so, He reminded us that legends aren't born in stadiums. They're forged in the quiet moments when no one is watching. As the final note fades, we are left not with noise, but with peace. A peace that whispers, "Be gentle, be grateful, keep believing." This is the story of John Legend, the man who found harmony after heartbreak and taught the world that love, above all, is still the greatest song ever written.